The 12 empty states of the United States. The United States is the third largest country in the world with a territory of 9.8 million square kilometers, only surpassed by Russia and Canada. With a population of 334 million people, it is also the third most populous country on Earth. Despite its size and population, vast regions are practically uninhabited. 12 states stand out because almost nobody lives in them, despite their natural beauty, tourist attractions, and economic opportunities. More people live in the New York metropolitan area than in the two states we will present together below. Why do these states have so few residents? What characteristics do they share? What factors make them less attractive to live in? Before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to stay updated. Number 12, Nevada. Nevada is located in the United States. Las Vegas, known for its casinos, shows, sports events, huge shopping centers, and nightlife, is the state's best-known and most populated city. Nevada borders Oregon and Idaho to the north, Utah and Arizona to the east, and California to the south and west. With 286,351 square kilometers, Nevada is the seventh largest state by area, larger than countries like New Zealand or Burkina Faso, and slightly smaller than the Philippines or Italy. Despite its size, Nevada is one of the least populated states with a density of about 9.43 inhabitants per square kilometer. Of its 3.1 million residents, just over 2 million live in the Las Vegas metropolitan area, nearly 70% of the state's population. Outside Las Vegas, the only significant city is Reno on the border with California, with about 264,000 people. Nevada's territory is mostly large deserts running north to south, and the Sierra Nevada mountains in the west. Early settlers in the Mojave Desert found springs fed by mountain runoff, which made Las Vegas a steam train stop on routes between Los Angeles and Albuquerque. As the population grew, spring water became insufficient. The extreme desert climate, winters below 0 degrees Celsius and summers up to 45 degrees Celsius, made life difficult. Water scarcity has forced radical measures. In 2021, Nevada banned turf in public medians, replacing lawns with desert plants that need little water. Most drinking water now comes from Lake Mead, fed by the Colorado River. That is why much of Nevada remains sparsely populated. Still, the harsh desert has not prevented Las Vegas from becoming one of the fastest-growing metropolitan areas in recent decades. New Mexico is the fifth largest U.S. state with an area of 314,919 square kilometers. About 1/4 of its population lives in a single city, Albuquerque. The rest of its cities have fewer than 100,000 residents, like Las Cruces with 97,000 or Santa Fe, the capital, with about 68,000. New Mexico has the highest percentage of Hispanic or Latino residents in the U.S. Nearly 50% trace roots to south of the border or to Spanish settlers. It is also the second highest state by proportion of Native American population, including Navajo, Apache, and Pueblo peoples living on dispersed reservations. The geography divides into the Rocky Mountains in the north, vast desert plains in the east, mountains to the south and west, and the Rio Grande with broad valleys splitting the state. Millions of hectares are protected, such as Carson National Forest, covering about 5,600 square kilometers. New Mexico is the second largest oil-producing state after Texas, producing around 1.6 million barrels per day. Despite natural beauty, culture, and oil wealth, New Mexico had one of the lowest population growth rates between 2010 and 2020, only 2.8%, largely due to negative migration. More people leave than arrive. Young people are the most likely to emigrate. Birth rates have declined, especially among the white population. The median age is 38.4 years, slightly above the national average. New Mexico is also a popular retirement destination. These demographic and economic patterns explain why New Mexico remains sparsely populated despite its resources and beauty. Number 10, Idaho. Idaho is located in the northwest U.S., in the Rocky Mountain region, which covers more than 80% of the state. Idaho contains the largest protected wild area in the lower 48 states outside Alaska, a vast set of mountain ranges, dense pine forests, rivers, canyons, and lakes covering some 9,578 square kilometers. Nearly 40% of the U.S. Forest Service-managed forests are in Idaho. In the southern region lies a wide plain crossed by the Snake River, where most of Idaho's cities are concentrated. Boise, the capital, has about 37,000 residents. The Boise metro totals roughly 764,000 people and holds about 40% of the state's 1.9 million inhabitants. Idaho has an area of 216,445 square kilometers. It is larger than countries like Guyana or Belarus, and a bit smaller than Romania or Mexico's Chihuahua state. Population density is low, about 8.33 people per square kilometer, making it the third least populated state. Harsh winter conditions and extensive forests have limited settlement. Winters can reach -20 degrees Celsius, while summers can hit 31 degrees Celsius, which affects migration decisions. Still, Idaho's population grew by 17% between 2010 and 2020, one of the fastest state growth rates, but population remains sparse and scattered among small cities. Idaho is known as a major national potato producer, and agriculture is a key economic sector. Manufacturing, tourism, and a growing tech sector are becoming more important in the state's economy. Number 9, Maine. Maine is considered the most rural state in the U.S. Around 89% of the territory is forested. Its capital is Augusta, but the main urban center is Portland. Maine sits at the northeastern edge of the United States, bordering Canada on multiple sides. With 91,646 square kilometers, Maine is comparable to Portugal or Hungary. Its population is about 1.3 million, the third least densely populated state. More than 80% of the territory is uninhabited. Only 38% live in urban areas concentrated in the south along the Atlantic coast. 40% of the population lives in the greater Portland metro across 3 counties. Small towns, rural farms, and forested areas dot the rest. Maine is known for dense virgin forests, rocky coasts, and large deep lakes like Moosehead, the largest on the U.S. East Coast. Long, extremely cold winters, especially in the north and west near Quebec, help explain low population density despite spectacular landscapes. Maine has one of the highest percentages of elderly residents over 65, and is one of the least racially diverse states, about 95% white of European descent. Population growth is modest, around 0.57% annually, with some migration towards southern cities by retirees. Number 8, Rhode Island. Rhode Island sits on the northeast Atlantic coast, and is nicknamed the Ocean State. With only about 4,000 square kilometers and roughly 1.1 million people, it is the second most densely populated state after New Jersey, about 264 people per square kilometer. Rhode Island was the first of the 13 colonies to declare independence from Britain. Today it has museums, churches, universities, and many historic towns. Most people live in the east near Providence and Narragansett Bay, a bay with over 30 islands including historic Newport and Middletown. Rhode Island's economy rests on tourism, manufacturing, shipbuilding, and healthcare. Despite moderate climate, high housing costs similar to New York can deter new residents and push locals to relocate to more affordable states. Between 2010 and 2019, the population increased only by 0.65%, one of the lowest growth rates in the country. Number 7, Montana. Montana is in the northwest region with 380,831 square kilometers, the fourth largest U.S. state after Alaska, Texas, and California. Montana is larger than countries like Germany or Japan. Geographically it splits into 2, the Rocky Mountains in the west and endless prairies and plateaus in the center and east. Population is about 1.687 million. Billings is the largest city with roughly 117,000 people. Many other towns have fewer than 100,000. Montana's economy is based on agriculture: wheat, barley, oats, rye, potatoes, and cherries, as well as logging and mining. Tourism is important in the west, where Glacier and Yellowstone national parks draw visitors. Montana experiences some of the most extreme climates, heavy snows, and freezing winters. Helena has recorded -25 degrees Celsius, Billings down to -18 degrees Celsius. Long winters from October to mid-May make spring barely noticeable and complicate settlement. Large distances between towns and high housing costs have kept Montana less attractive for migrants. Number 6, Delaware. Delaware sits in the northeast with 6,446 square kilometers, the second smallest state, and about 990,000 residents, making it one of the least populated states. It borders Pennsylvania to the north, Maryland to the south and west, the Delaware Bay and New Jersey to the east, and the Atlantic to the southeast. Dover is the capital, but Wilmington is the most urbanized and industrialized city and part of the Philadelphia metro area. The state divides between a rural, southern region with a southern conservative culture and a densely populated north, connected to the northeast megaregion. Historically, Delaware was the first state admitted to the Union on December 7, 1787, a date shown on its flag. Today, Delaware is a major corporate hub. More than 200,000 companies are incorporated there due to favorable tax laws, but many operate outside the state and do not generate local jobs. Since the mid-2000s, automotive and steel industries left the state, and large pharmaceutical facilities have gradually sold off their operations. Unlike other low-population states, Delaware does not have extreme climate. Its location gives mild winters and moderate summers. Low local job creation and industrial departures, despite good weather, have limited growth. Between 2010 and 2020, the population increased by only about 92,000. Number 5. South Dakota. South Dakota lies in the north-central United States on the Great Plains. Most of its territory is flat. With 199,729 square kilometers, it is larger than Florida or Illinois, yet has only about 886,667 people. That is one-third the population of Miami-Dade County and 16 times fewer than the Chicago metro area. Pierre is the capital. Sioux Falls is the largest city with about 169,000 people. South Dakota's low density stems from its agricultural vocation. The fertile plains produced wheat, corn and sunflower seeds, and the arrival of railroads in the 19th century drew immigrants from Germany, Norway, Ireland and England, alongside native Sioux communities. The Missouri River divides the state into distinct regions: East River with intensive farming and West River with ranching, mining and industry. From space you can see the state stitched with circular and square agricultural fields. Because the economy is largely primary sector and agriculture-based, there was never a need for large urban centers, keeping population sparse. Number 4. North Dakota. North Dakota is in the U.S. Midwest, bordering Canada, Montana, South Dakota, and Minnesota. With 183,589 square kilometers and only about 779,000 residents, it is one of the least populated states. The reasons for low density mirror South Dakota, but amplified. Large flat plains and Arctic air masses cause severe, dark and cold winters with temperatures potentially dropping to -51 degrees Celsius. Summers can be hot and humid with temperatures approaching 49 degrees Celsius, and the region faces thunderstorms, hail and tornadoes. Agriculture, especially corn and wheat, has long supported the economy. In recent decades, oil extraction in the western region, particularly the Bakken Formation near Williston, has driven economic growth and migration for energy jobs. Oil booms bring temporary workers, but the harsh climate and remoteness limit long-term large-scale settlement. Thus, North Dakota remains sparsely populated despite recent industrial booms. Number 3. Alaska. Alaska is the largest U.S. state with 1,717,856 square kilometers, larger than Iran or Mongolia, 10 times Florida, or 4 times California. With a population of about 733,391, Alaska is the third least populated state and the least densely populated, roughly 0.41 people per square kilometer. Alaska sits in the far northwest of North America, bordering the Arctic Ocean to the north, Canada to the east, the Pacific to the south, and the Bering Sea to the west. Juneau is the capital, but Anchorage is the largest city with about 292,000 people. The U.S. bought Alaska from Russia in 1867 for $7.2 million. It remained a remote territory until 1959, when it became the 49th state during the Cold War. Discoveries of large oil deposits have boosted the economy, but harsh living conditions deter migration. In summer, some southern areas can warm to 30 degrees Celsius, but winters can drop to -46 degrees Celsius. Some regions endure weeks of near-complete darkness and others see only 4 hours of daylight. Much of Alaska is inaccessible by road. Many communities are reachable only by plane, ferry, or cruise. For example, to reach Juneau you must fly, take a ferry or sail. Number 2. Vermont. Vermont is known for being the first U.S. state to abolish slavery. Its progressive policies, civil rights expansions, and environmental focus make it one of the most liberal states. Located in the Northeast, Vermont borders New York, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, and Canada. Its forests cover much of the state, making it one of the most beautiful places in the U.S. Of its roughly 643,000 inhabitants, only 38.9% live in urban centers. Forests and mountains prevent large city development. Burlington is the largest city. Montpelier is the capital. Vermont's autumns fill the landscape with reds and oranges from October onward. The Green Mountains form part of the Appalachian Range that stretches from Quebec to Georgia. Between 2010 and 2020, there was steady demographic growth driven by professional migrants to counties like Chittenden, where Burlington grew 7.5%. Historically agricultural and timber-based, Vermont's economy now revolves around food production like maple syrup and butter, insurance, and tourism. Depopulation in earlier eras allowed forests to recover, limiting industrial development and keeping population low, but landscapes pristine. Number 1. Wyoming. Wyoming sits in the west. The Rocky Mountains cover much of the western territory while the eastern part opens to the Great Plains. With 253,406 square kilometers, Wyoming is larger than countries like the United Kingdom, Uganda, or Guinea, but its population is only about 576,851. This makes Wyoming the least populated U.S. state and the second least densely populated after Alaska, at about 2.2 people per square kilometer. The capital and largest city, Cheyenne, has roughly 65,000 residents. Nearly half the state is federal land, including Yellowstone and Grand Teton National Parks, which together receive millions of visitors annually. In early 2023, Yellowstone received about 2.4 million visitors, while Grand Teton sees around 3.3 million per year. Mining, especially coal, oil production, and tourism, are the state's economic pillars. Public sector and basic services also play a significant role. Despite efforts to retain professionals, young people often migrate to more dynamic urban states. Many counties have lost population over the last decade. Together, the two states we just covered have a combined population of 15.2 million people, only about 4% of the total U.S. population. Despite natural beauty and rich resources, extreme climates and lack of urbanization limit migration and leave vast areas practically uninhabited. We hope this video was useful. If you have anything to add, please share it in the comments section. Like this video and send the link to family and friends so they can learn more about the geography of our planet. If you are new to our channel, don't forget to subscribe and follow us on all social networks linked below the description. Remember, the best way to learn about the Earth is to explore it with your own eyes. As we journeyed across Nevada's deserts, wandered through the wilds of Alaska, explored the quiet charm of Vermont, one thing became clear. The so-called empty states are anything but empty. Each of the 12 states we visited holds its own stories, landscapes, cultures waiting to be discovered by those willing to look beyond the surface. These wide-open spaces remind us that the United States is more than its bustling cities. Rugged mountains, endless plains, dense forests, silent coastlines, solitude can be beautiful. Every mile tells a new tale. So next time you think of the map, vastness, variety, quiet wonder found in these states. Let curiosity guide you, planning a road trip, reading a book, dreaming about distant places. Thank you for joining us on this adventure. If you enjoyed exploring the unseen side of America, subscribe for more journeys into the world's hidden corners. Keep exploring, stay curious. Never stop discovering.